What does happen when decades of quiet at last get cracked? Christine's stolen memoir page sparked a fire Kody never anticipated. Courtroom warrants, family breakdowns, and rumors of a voicemail that'll upend everything. It's not television drama. It's actual life falling apart. If you've ever seen this family and thought, something's gotta give, you're not mistaken. Watch now and observe how everything starts to come apart. You ever have that sense when something's been simmering under the surface for years, perhaps even decades, and then, suddenly, it all comes to a head? Unspoken irritations, secret surrenders, hidden dreams, all coming out in one jaw-dropping instant? Well, that's where we're at with Sister Wives. And friend, this time, it's not a storyline. It's real. It's raw. And it's changing everything we ever thought we knew about the Browns. Now, if you've been following this family since the start, the grand ambitions, the dinner table gatherings, the cringe-worthy couch interviews, you might have felt as if you witnessed something special, a different sort of family. Complicated, yes, but held together by some sort of larger faith. Except at some point along the way, that faith fractured. And in the empty moment between episodes, when cameras were rolling commercial and music was playing soft, actual people in that family were suffering. And one of them, Christine, she'd had enough at last. The instant she sent that photo of the leaked quote, whether by accident or design, was the ignition. One low-res image that appeared to be a manuscript page. A handful of words, just words, out of focus. But what they meant by them, well, that ignited a domino effect that's still in progress. You might be wondering, what could be in a memoir that causes this kind of fallout? What kind of truth has the power to split a family, draw courtroom lines, and send shockwaves through fans who've been watching for over a decade? The answer, as in life, isn't easy. It's not a moment, it's years of them. Quiet moments of choice, forgotten birthdays, an unpaid for surgery, words spoken out of frustration that never quite got retracted. And now, all those strings are being pulled tight in courtrooms, in group texts, in late-night voicemail recordings that were maybe never intended for any other pair of ears. There's something cringingly human about what's going on with the Browns, particularly for those of us who've raised children, built houses, made concessions. We get that sort of exhaustion, that conflict between loyalty and self-respect, between keeping the peace and finally asserting oneself. Kody, for all his self-assurance and composure, might not have been expecting this, or perhaps he did, and just didn't think it would ever go this far. Because let's be real, when a father is facing wage garnishments, parenting classes, and a family strand that's become an emoji war zone of side-eye and woe, it's no longer a disagreement among family members. It's a reckoning. And what about Robyn? She might be more introverted than the rest, but the facts are beginning to emerge. Doll collections, shopping at boutiques, boxes discreetly loaded on trucks. There is a certain symbolism there that cannot be discounted. As if the house she attempted to safeguard is being slowly drained, one porcelain recollection at a time. But perhaps the saddest stitch in all of this isn't about the adults. It's the children, the ones who've lived this thing, not observed it. The ones who've borne the burden of those unspoken words. The ones now whispering relief or sending abrupt text messages, or just hoping their next therapy session will finally bring some serenity. Because when it comes down to it, this isn't a reality show anymore. This is real life. It's a man torn between his past decisions and current consequences. It's women asserting their voices after years of settling. It's children learning that justice sometimes comes slowly, but it does arrive. And for us viewers, particularly those of us who've lived long enough to notice how fast families can shift, it's both recognizable and profoundly disturbing. So the question now is, what's next? Does Kody fight back in court, try to silence what's already out there? Or does he finally, quietly, let the truth settle in? And Christine? Does her story light the path for others? Or reopen wounds too fresh to heal? There are no easy answers, but there is clarity in one thing. This family is forever changed. What began as a show about faith and family has turned into something else. A warning, a reflection, and in many ways, a reminder that despite the public stage, healing occurs quietly, over milkshakes, with sisters, in journal pages penned into chapters. In the next part of this video, we'll walk through the full story, piece by piece, not just the headlines, but the emotions beneath them. We'll look at how it all unfolded, what it means for the family moving forward, and what it says about the rest of us who've walked through hard seasons of our own. So stay with me. Let's unpack the storm together. So when the entire child custody scenario presented itself, Christine was in a bind. She began getting a little crafty because, seriously, she didn't know what to do. She couldn't rely on what Kody would do next. Would he be just? Would he try to get her? She really had no idea. Then came that one moment that initiated everything. Christine pressed the send button on a social media update, and seconds later, the web erupted like a 4th of July fireworks display. What she posted was a fuzzy photograph, just a quick peek at an early version from her new book. Later, she said it accidentally leaked out. But whether it was an accident or not, it dropped with a bombshell. I lived it once, and now I'm reliving it again while these episodes air, she said. It's incredibly emotional. Everything feels so raw right now. That blurry snapshot might not have been crystal clear, but one thing stood out loud and bright: $100,000 in back support. That phrase alone was enough to make jaws drop in kitchens all across America. In the background, sources tell us that Kody was apoplectic. According to reports, he was reportedly seen running around the Phoenix airport, clutching his phone so hard his knuckles went white. He was yelling, agitated, clearly shaken. One airport employee even hushed us that Kody kept repeating something about managing the narrative as he frantically refreshed his phone, every new alert delivering a blow. What's fascinating is that incendiary line could have originated in Chapter 7 of Christine's book. That's where she supposedly reveals something quite surprising. Kody once threatened her with the fact that if she ever brought him to court, he'd do his best to get his hands on every last cent she ever made. And when you read that alongside the leaked child support amount, well, it begins to sound suspiciously like foreshadowing. Now, there's no formal statement to verify the amount, but enthusiasts are certain that it aligns with a child support judgment that had been submitted quietly in Utah last month. Christine removed the post about 30 minutes after she posted it, explaining that it violated her publisher's rules. But by then, the harm, or depending on your perspective, the justice, was already accomplished. Screenshots proliferated, and the speculation multiplied. Kody finally confessed that he hadn't been truthful about custody of his daughter, Truly, with Christine. That admission brought huge applause from Christine's base. They received her post as a quiet victory, a kind of soft launch of overdue justice. But Kody's supporters, they were mad. Some said it was a serious violation. One of the editors with access to initial drafts says that there's a whole section contrasting Kody's polished on-camera persona with the raw, unfiltered outbursts producers decided not to broadcast. Another source said Christine goes deep into how polygamy confused family loyalty with emotional abandonment, particularly when the camera stopped rolling. Christine's memoir doesn't superficially touch upon the subject. It allegedly plunges headfirst into the convoluted line between religious obligation and emotional abandonment. She identifies particular incidents when Kody, according to her, weaponized faith, distorting religious teachings to silence dissent, and shirk responsibility. Now, none of that has been confirmed yet, but unofficially, publishing lawyers are reported to be scrutinizing every sentence, balancing very carefully what's sensational and revealing against what could get them in trouble. It's a kind of tightrope act. Remain dramatic, but on the right side of the law. Meanwhile, the marketing forces behind the book are planning out what some have dubbed a 12-week slow drip campaign up to the publication date of the memoir. The strategy? Release tiny, teasing morsels of information each week. Perhaps a sentence about Robyn's habits when it comes to spending money one week. A moment of Janelle's repressed fury the following week. It's all geared to keep Kody in a state of perpetual reaction, each rant or counterattack by him just fueling the flames. As reported by one network source, even TLC is jumping in on the action. What they're reportedly attempting is a deal for cameo appearances on the book tour. They're hoping big that footage of Christine signing books with fans chanting, "Pay up, Kody," will bring huge ratings. If even half of the rumored chapters survive the legal edits, Christine's story may end up feeling less like a personal memoir and more like a guided tour through the emotional backhalls of polygamy. Of course, publishers love a little shock value. especially when it helps sell out advance copies. And from what we're hearing, the most dramatic chapter of all is still locked away. That last chapter, until now only disclosed to a few select insiders, purportedly includes a recording of a voicemail. One Kody left on the night the child support order was entered. Raw, enraged, and thick with words that, if they're true, he might be sorry he ever uttered. Some claim that the voicemail crossed an irreparable line. As per legal documents, which were obtained by In Touch, Christine, age 52, formally lodged her lawsuit on Monday, September 16th. She asked the court to formally determine paternity of their teen daughter, since up to now, Kody, 55, isn't named on her birth certificate. Everyone is wondering, what did Kody say that evening when he presumed no one was listening but Christine? By morning, the fallout from the leak had spread beyond Instagram. On Reddit, spreadsheet-wielding fans had been busy. They unearthed Utah's child support legislation, analyzed court filing fees, and even extracted clips of Kody boasting on TV about buying his kids' cars. Then they calculated the numbers, employing Utah's standard child support calculator, increasing with base income, parenting time, and medical expenses. Some supporters conservatively estimated that Christine might be due more than $100,000. And that does not even include interest for the past 3 years. One supporter, who is an accountant, even published a month-by-month chart, color-coded with interest added. The total? Growing bigger than Kody could accelerate one of his ATVs. None of this has been confirmed officially, naturally. Christine just keeps saying one thing. All will be revealed in September. But insiders maintain that a private mediation agreement already initiated the course of events, beginning with a lump sum payment and bi-weekly garnishments directly from Kody's TLC paychecks. Nevertheless, what truly set fans ablaze was one specific line from that leaked manuscript page. In it, Christine remembers she asked Kody to assist in paying for a much-needed surgery. His response, she says, was, "Used cars cost less than spines." That single line alone was sufficient to cause a firestorm on the internet, and the embers still smolder. The moment that incendiary line regarding the surgery landed on the web, it wasn't long before the critics pounced. They rummaged up some old video, footage of Kody cheerfully presenting $2,000 beaters to his teenagers, while supposedly avoiding the much graver issue of Isabel's bills from the hospital. Attempting to soothe the outrage, one of Kody's people discreetly slipped a note to a sympathetic blogger. Their justification? The new court ruling supposedly considers Kody's previous in-kind donations. That is to say, gifts rather than money. But local legal commentators weren't having it. On radio talk shows, one lawyer articulated the source of Utah law. Pretty straightforward. Only so-called money payments or substantiated insurance coverage are recognized, not passing around used sedans with faulty odometers. The web didn't desist. For 12 consecutive hours, hashtags such as #PayAPapa trended. The memes? Savage, each one sharper than the previous one. Meanwhile, in the midst of all that virtual mayhem, Kody was said to have been dashing through another airport, his eyes scanning hither and yon, maybe searching for an outlet, perhaps to recharge his phone, or his self-esteem. One passenger swore they heard him on a frenetic phone call, discussing how, if TLC failed to deliver in advance, he might have to sell some of his Flagstaff playthings. Was it all hot air? Or has the garnishment already started to kick in? The answer could be found on his next destination, Texas, a journey no one really saw coming, and one that's raising more than a few eyebrows. Rumors are that it wasn't a layover after all. It was a desperate last-minute dash for a cash lifeline. Flight trackers verified Kody boarded a late-night flight out of Phoenix and landed at Dallas Love Field. A tipster, who claimed she saw his telltale man bun 2 rows in front of her, reported he sprinted off the plane, bypassed baggage claim, and headed straight for a black SUV parked at the curb. No fan photos, no smiles, just a rude phone call concluding with Kody yelling, "I need it wired before noon." So where was he going? Sources indicate the SUV took him to a high-end office park in Addison, Texas, where a number of boutique private equity companies have offices. These are shops that deal in short-term loans, usually to celebrities and reality TV personalities who need money right away to get them through between contracts. Word is, Kody sat in a closed-door pitch meeting for a couple of hours. He was supposedly presenting next season's drama as collateral, attempting to obtain a bridge loan against his future TLC receipts. And the pressure? Real enough. Utah's garnishment process can legally begin dipping into bank accounts within 14 business days of a missed payment. Insiders think Kody's initial bi-weekly withdrawal will be in early July. In the meantime, there was little peace at home. Robyn was seemingly seen alone at Target, cart full of shabby chic wall decor, and yes, yet another porcelain baby doll bed. That excursion did not fly under the radar. It leaked out to her fans, and soon enough, one of her voicemails to Kody leaked online through a popular Sister Wives gossip blog. Robyn's voice in the recording is low, near hysterical. "Kody, the collectors called again." And just like that, the suspense continues to rise. They want the balance cleared, or they pull the dolls. That's the quote going around based on Robyn's hushed voicemail, her cherished collection of porcelain baby dolls. There is no formal documentation to support any repossession demands, but that didn't dissuade blog commentators from weighing in. Some made jokes that if Robyn's cherished knickknacks begin to go to the pawn shop, it won't only sting their wallet, it might totally ruin whatever public reputation she and Kody share. Later, as dawn broke, a blurry photo circulated on Reddit. It depicted Kody in a lot, slumping shoulders, holding a manila envelope. Somebody had taken the photo and labeled it loan approved or denied. Place your bets. Nobody knows for certain what was in that envelope, but Christine's team, they're already strategizing their next step. There's word her lawyers are getting ready for Kody to file a motion intended to seal portions of the memoir, particularly any sections he believes might be hurtful to his reputation. If that motion is successful, one of the strongest chapters of Christine's book, perhaps one that her fans are waiting for most, could be wiped from existence before it ever makes it to bookshelves. Unless, of course, Christine gets there first and releases that infamous voicemail. And let me tell you, buddy, if the version being circulated among a handful of producers is the genuine article, then the judge's child support order may look pale by comparison to whatever Kody supposedly said. So, what's allegedly on this tape? And why are Kody's lawyers rushing to bury it? From one publishing insider, seen sipping a macchiato on Manhattan's Upper West Side, Christine was a very intentional writer. Says one, whenever she came to a paragraph that felt too raw or too risky, she'd stop and make a private voice memo. It was therapy, plus a way of covering her bases. On those memos, she allegedly wrote out in detail where the receipts reside. Emails, texts, voice messages, all stored in careful accounting. One such recording, purportedly titled Kody's Rage Call, starts with Christine exhaling softly and tremulously. Then the voicemail plays. Kody's voice, hoarse but unmistakably his own, purportedly bellows, "You haul me into court for $100,000, and I will see to it that no one buys your pathetic little book." Then, after a few moments of silence, breathing harsh, he continues, "Don't test me. The insider tells me Christine's lawyers now store that file in a safe, encrypted vault. It's available as evidence if Kody makes an attempt to go to court and get Chapter 7 removed or muzzled." And the really interesting part, legal analysts say if the voicemail is verified and linked to the memoir, it will turn Christine's book from mere storytelling into something much stronger, corroborated testimony. That might put the memoir under the umbrella of Utah's anti-SLAPP laws, which are meant to protect individuals from being sued for commenting publicly on issues of public importance. In brief, if Christine makes the voicemail public, it might not only defend her, it could sentence Kody to loss in court and in the court of public opinion. If Kody sues for defamation, he may be marching directly into a trap, because, publishing insiders say, the real bombshell may not be the voicemail itself, but rather a small note Christine wrote in the margin alongside the transcript. It states, "Good luck hiding your private equity loan when garnishments hit." That single sentence is more than sarcasm. It implies Christine fully understands where Kody's new money is headed and how soon the state of Utah can begin tapping into it. Industry insiders think that line alone may be sufficient to drive Robyn to a tacit settlement. Why? Because he doesn't need to see the judge or the public rummaging through unofficial advances, side deals, or off-the-books assistance from the mysterious benefactors financing Robyn's doll room. And as the lawyers exchange filings behind the scenes, TLC's production team is said to be getting ready. Rumor has it that camera crews have been instructed to have batteries ready and charged, just in case a court filing materializes. The shot of a lifetime? Kody charging down his driveway, documents in hand, pacing frantically while the camera records every second, in glorious high definition. That's the kind of footage producers would play on repeat in every mid-season trailer. But the big question remains, will that voicemail ever make it out to the public? Or will Kody's lawyers bury it before we even hear the last threatening syllable? Then, just 1 week later, something subtle but powerful happened. The courthouse in Lehigh quietly stamped the Brown family's file, Track 3, Significant Custody Dispute. Now, to the average human being, that designation sounds like bureaucratic doublespeak. But in Utah courts dealing with families, Track 3 is no joke. It's the designation for the filthiest cases, the high-conflict ones that most likely involve charges of emotional abuse, financial withholding, or both. And once a case receives that designation, the state does everything it can to crack down. Sources familiar with the clerk's office reported that the new court order now mandates both parents to complete a required parenting skills class and a 4-hour divorce-related finances workshop. And yes, this is the same course once completed by Kevin Franke after his own high-profile support struggle. In plain English, Kody, who once boasted that no judge was ever going to instruct him on how to raise his children, will now endure PowerPoint presentations about empathy, co-parenting, and wage garnishment. And somebody's going to break it all down very slowly. Meanwhile, Utah's Office of Recovery Services is not noted for dawdling. As legal analysts explain, after an individual makes 2 consecutive payments late, the state can begin taking money directly from paychecks, bank accounts, even investment income. And yes, that even includes reality TV paychecks. So TLC may soon be legally bound to send some of Kody's sister wives' money directly to Christine before he ever sees a dime. And if Kody still lags behind, things get really serious. A lien might be placed on real estate investments, like that gaudy Flagstaff house with its large mortgage. And when it does, the lien goes public. That is, fans might be able to find it listed on the county recorder's website, ready to screenshot and circulate. Even a bankruptcy expert weighed in, pointing out Utah charges compound interest on delinquent child support, and it compounds quickly. The rate is 2% above prime. That is, if Kody skips just one $10,000 payment, it can get out of hand fast, becoming something much larger than he might be prepared to handle. At Coyote Pass, the heat continued to build. Kody apparently attempted to protest the court's directive to take a parenting class. His reasoning? That decades of raising a big family qualified him to forego one. But the judge, sources say, replied in a manner that was both assertive and biting, sliding a brochure across the desk with the words, "For fathers who feel unfairly targeted," emblazoned on it. While that was going on, Christine navigated her first class with ease. She was even heard giggling in the hallway saying, "I could teach this course in my sleep." Court officials claim her relaxed confidence unsettled Kody more than the court-ordered textbook. He exited the session holding the workbook as if it would blow up in his face. The real explosion, however, might be when the first garnishment notice arrives in his mailbox. Word is that envelope won't simply have a payment plan. It's accompanied by a warning. Miss one payment, and they file a lien right away. No negotiating, no extensions. That's the way things work in the state of Utah. If the courthouse unsettled him, what came next truly shook the family. According to insiders, the moment the parenting class order hit the family group chat, Janelle fired off a row of champagne glass emojis, followed by the biting line, "Guess you'll be learning what diapers really cost." Not long after, Mary chimed in, more cautious, more reserved, not quite celebratory. "Let's stay kind," she wrote. That just sparked something in Janelle, who allegedly responded by sharing a screenshot of the state's lien notice and captioning it, "Kindness is making him pay his share." Christine, ever the public peacekeeper, remained largely silent in the group conversation. But in private, sources claim she messaged Janelle, "Let's focus on the kids. Truly's beaming today." And beaming she was. Word got around, David, Christine's fiancé, took Truly and Gwendolyn out for milkshakes when the news first came through. While sitting down, he apparently explained to them, "This isn't about money, it's about fairness." A grainy photo of the moment was posted online later that night, which brought a new onslaught of comments labeling David as stepdad of the year. But the most emotional reaction was from Isabel. Friends who are close to the family report that upon hearing the news, she cried, muttering, "Maybe now he'll finally care." That moment has not been confirmed, but if genuine, the timing couldn't be more significant. Only a few days after the garnishment process officially began, Isabel was approved for more therapy sessions that Christine had been secretly footing the bill for since the spinal surgery debacle. And the response did not end with the younger children. Cody's older sons apparently answered the family conversation with a direct message, "Told you this day would come." And then each of them, one after another, muted the conversation. The gap is becoming painfully stark. The children once struggling to cover school are now seeing their dad fight to shield luxury toys and properties. In Flagstaff, neighbors observed Robyn's blinds remain closed for 2 straight days. One even saw a donation truck parked in front with what appeared to be doll boxes being loaded into the back quietly. Is she cleaning out or selling out? No one knows for certain, but the symbolism is not easily ignored. Dolls out, debts in. When dark fell, a solitary porch light came on. Cody could be observed pacing beside the window, phone clutched tightly in his ear, his outline angular, his gait agitated. Rumor has it, just a few hours ago, Christine's lawyers formally served him the wage withholding notice. The documents are bona fide. The clock has ticked. And now, it starts to tick. And now, with only 14 days before the first of the automatic wage garnishments lands in Cody's bank account, the question in the air is easy, but weighty. Will he swallow his pride and cough it up? Or is yet another desperate scheme in the works, lurking in the shadows? Rumors are he may be looking for a legal loophole, a one that could bring the entire Brown clan back to court for another bout of emotional exhaustion. Around dawn in Flagstaff, events took a different course. A neighbor, twice verifying through her Ring camera, says she witnessed Robyn drive up at 6:15 a.m. sharp. She parked her SUV nose first, as if attempting to barricade any vehicle from approaching it. Then, she hurried inside with one battered banker's box. What was inside the box? Her private credit card receipts, report sources, and this time around, the hysteria wasn't solely over child support. Sources close to her say an accountant picked up on more than $40,000 in boutique decor purchases, made at the same time Cody was lagging behind on payments. We're talking shabby chic chandeliers, velvet fainting couches, and yes, yet more limited edition doll wardrobes. The optics, as one lawyer described them, are devastating. While the courts speak liens and late support, Robyn's receipts yell luxury. And then something even more bizarre. A Flagstaff consignment store posted a very short Instagram story, deleted after only seconds, showing a porcelain baby doll with the caption, "Celebrity collection, DM for price." But fans were quick. Screenshots were pouring into Reddit within minutes, with many believing it was Robyn's favorite Luke Skywalker doll in toy form. There's no verification yet, but that didn't stop fans from inundating the shop's email inbox until the whole account went out of commission. Things were said to come to a boil later that day. Cody was spotted storming back into the cul-de-sac, furious. 2 door down witnesses report hearing heated whispers, low but cutting. The dispute? Something about selling family memories. One neighbor reported Cody waving a legal envelope, his voice rising as he demanded, "I need a lump sum by Friday, or the state freezes our joint account." Robyn reportedly retorted, "Those are my assets," to which Cody shot back, "Then sell your assets." If that exchange is true, it marks the first public crack in what's long been portrayed as an unshakable alliance between the two. And here's the kicker. Lenders don't take kindly to instability. When Robyn borrows a bridge loan, and the collateral, potential income in this case, and possibly even collectible valuables, devalues, lenders tend to charge more interest. Quick. That increase alone would devour half of TLC's season's paycheck before Kody ever receives a dime. And looming over it all? Christine's memoir, continuing quietly toward debut day. The more Robyn moves, the louder the fan base cries. Guilt sale. To them, each antique dresser or boxed-up doll is no longer quaint. It's a reminder of financial ruin. While Christine continues to record, composed and determined, every so often taking a sip of tea, marking another line in her manuscript. One that, sources claim, equates dollroom budgets and grocery bills. And that brings us back to one final, urgent question. Will Robyn part with her cherished porcelain collection in order to save Kody's finances? Or will she grab on tight and see the garnishments take bigger and bigger bites? Just when it seemed like Flagstaff couldn't get any more complicated, TLC got involved. Network executives allegedly called an emergency Zoom meeting, designated simply